Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Artieka.
I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Ready to Love Season 4, Episode 5. And it is titled Eyes Wide Open. If you have not already, please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, and go ahead and share this post with a friend in advance. You ready to get started?
I am ready.
You're so dramatic. All right. So, starting out with the eliminations. We thought that there would only be one. Turns out there were two. And I talked to my mom about this. She also watches Ready to Love. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
And Tressa and Stacey were both sent home.
Yeah.
Collectively, we were ready for Stacey to be sent home. I felt like one of the guys, like, y'all team too much. But Tressa, I felt sorry for her.
Yeah.
Because all these guys were like, she's cool, she's amazing, and yet they still sent her home.
Yeah.
So it's like, y'all don't want somebody that's cool and amazing. Y'all just want somebody.
Right.
And that's the part that bothers me.
Yeah. I felt bad from her from the start just because it was like, I don't feel like she got the fair shake because of the excuse of I'm getting homie vibes from her.
Yeah.
And if you like we talked about in our podcast previously, you can date the homie, but it's like, how is it that they're putting her in the friend zone immediately before they even get a chance to get to know her? Mm-hmm. It's like she is a bigger girl than the rest of the girls, mm-hmm. But that doesn't change anything. That doesn't change. Her. She's still a female,
All right, she's still a woman, and she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And it's like you can vibe with her on other things, but you don't want to give someone like her a chance. It's best for her that she is gone because those are not the type of men that she needs to be surrounding herself with.
No, I totally get that. That's the way I felt about that. So it was like, it's kind of like bittersweet that she was eliminated, but it's kind of like, okay, it's a sigh of relief at this point that she got eliminated.
Like, y'all can stop stringing old girl along.
Right. Exactly. But for Stacey, did you say anything about Stacey?
I'm happy she gone.
Oh, yeah, but for Stacey, I knew that one of them, I knew when they got into the gentleman's lounge, mm-hmm. I knew it was either Stacey, Chrysanthemum, or Tressa. Mm-hmm. I knew for a fact Tressa was out of there, but then they started talking about Stacey. I was like,
Mm-hmm. Because we thought there was only one.
There was only one, but because there were two, I was like, okay, Stacey had to go. Or Chrysanthemum had to go. One of those freaking frat girls had to leave. And
Stacey, to my knowledge, had burned more bridges with men than Chrysanthemum had done.
Yeah.
Because remember when they did the cooking class, Stacey just walked off from KG
right.
or Chris.
Yeah.
It was another guy that she did the same thing to somewhere else, if I'm not mistaken. And I know this wasn't on the show, but it was on Own's YouTube page. The only date that I believe we had gotten to see Chrysanthemum on was the date with Troy.
You talking about Stacey or Chrysanthemum?
Chrysanthemum. Remember the video that I showed you on YouTube?
Yeah.
That was the only date that we got to see, and we didn't actually get to
Ron. She went on.
Oh, she did go on a date with Ron.
Yeah.
So it was just those two. So for people to be like, freaking frack, I'm like, y'all have really had to make, of course we know production.
Yeah. We didn't see
the seeds.
I didn't know of freaking frack until this episode.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We didn't know about it, but production sows the seeds of people calling them freaking frack, and it keep getting brought up over and over and over again, because it was like, it went from Stacey's my friend to overkill of freaking frack. So with the overkill of freaking frack, we knew one of them had to go.
Yeah.
And Chrysanthemum hadn't been in the forefront. We hadn't seen as many of her dates. So it seemed logical for if one of them gets to stay, she gets to be the one to stay.
Yeah.
Because she hadn't ruffled enough feathers.
But then my question with the elimination from Stacy was she felt like she got bamboozled. I didn't understand what she meant by that, or she was cheated. Or so I don't understand what she meant by that.
I think that she felt that way because remember, one of her things in this episode was her asking every guy, who's your number one? And she felt like she was in so many guys' like top 3 that they should not have sent her home.
Oh, okay. I got you.
That's all I can think of as like.
Yeah, I didn't understand. Like for me, it was like I was completely missing it. It's like, how do you feel like you got cheated based off of somebody's feelings of you? Like, no, like they just didn't like you.
Yeah. But the thing that bothered me the most about her exit was when she started, not the actual crying, because I can understand, like, it's emotions. You have to go through them. You have to feel all of your emotions. But she was like, what am I going to tell my kids? Did you tell your kids that you was going to bring them home a daddy? Like, what?
She did.
Why?
I don't think she said a daddy, but she said she, made a promise to them. And they were rooting for her so hard.
Why would you make that promise to your kids? Because there's no certainties in this TV show. I
don't know.
Because you could make it to the end with a man and it's still not turned into anything.
I just think she got eliminated because she got too much of friend vibes. She became a wingman for Chrysanthemum. Mm-hmm. That being and I hate to call it a competition, but rather than being in a competition, she became the wingman. Mm-hmm. And in the show like this or a competition like this, you don't need a wingman. Mm-mm. Because then that wingman is just only in the way. Mm-hmm. Unless
your wingman was of the opposite sex.
Right.
Because remember, and even though he still got eliminated, like Joy was that for Chris.
Yeah.
Like she was like, no, it's not like that.
Right. Joy kept him in there.
Yeah. As long as she could. So we'll go back to the beginning of the episode. We start up with the men meeting in the gentleman's lounge, and they nephew Tommy. I have to say nephew.
Because you got your own Tommy.
You're a husband Tommy. He's nephew Tommy. He tells him that there's a formal event coming up. It's going to be a masquerade ball. And basically he was saying, you need to see how these women carry themselves in more formal settings.
Right.
And so before we get to the masquerade ball, we see that Kyra, Alexis, AJ, and Jason all go ice skating. AJ seems to be trying to rekindle a little bit of the history that he had with Kyra. And then Alexis and Jason discuss him dating women with kids. And Jason did let her know that he had a tough time associating her. He was like, the having kids thing is not the issue.
Yeah.
Work with kids, cool with kids. I'm having a hard time associating you as a love interest because you are my student's parent, which I completely get that. Like, you don't want to blur the lines.
Right.
Like, this is not just a kid that's in my class. This is a kid that I'm coaching in a sport too. So I have a totally different relationship with him outside of the classroom. So having that and being able to like associate that with Alexis. Like, I'm happy that he was upfront and honest.
Oh, yeah.
Because Alexis, as we've seen, has come on really strong with the guys. Which I can't help but like go through and try to like narrow off or check off who's going to go where, because we know that it's not going to be Alexis and Jason, and we know that it's not going to be Alexis and AJ.
Yeah.
So like... trying to figure out, it's not gonna be Alexis and David.
Right. Nah.
And so like trying to figure out who is left, it's just like Alexis is probably going home fairly soon.
Right.
Based on the guys that are left. I let me not say I don't remember. I don't know if there was much going on with Kyra and AJ.
Yeah, I didn't write anything down for them. The only thing I could remember is that they went ice skating. And AJ was saying, like, the big joke was Kyra could actually ice skate, but AJ was having a little trouble, and Kyra was like, I thought you could skate. He was like, yeah, rollerblade, you know.
It's not different though.
Or like on wheels and not ice. Yeah, it wasn't much. The only thing that I noticed between that whole date is that both of these couples, if we can say that, had a past with each other. And
That's true.
And one seemed to work at what they're doing, and the other seemed to not.
Right.
I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad Jason said what he said to kind of like form okay, we're going to take a left turn.
Right.
And decide to like try other people. But other than that, man, yeah, like.
So next up, we saw Stacy go over to Ron's house or Ronald's house. They discussed her having kids, and then we get into a little bit of the conversation that Ron said that he had both Stacy and Chrysanthemum in his top 3. I don't think that they knew, or did she mention on this particular date that Alexis was also at the top?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't tell.
I know in one of the dates there was a flashback to Alexis saying get at the table with the ladies.
That was when they went to dancing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So with Stacy, like I said, this is what made me look at Stacy as a wingman, because she, like, yeah, Ron said, hey, you and Chris is in my top. And then she's trying to force him to, well, who's number one? Who's number one? It really doesn't matter who's number one. You should just really focus on your feelings and how you feel towards this man that's sitting in front of you. That's the way I thought about that whole situation. But then as well as, you know, she was like just trying to really root. Like if Chris is who you want, then I want to like up Chris a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it was just all messy, and I think Stacy took the wrong approach with Ron in that on that date. So
yeah, as we can agree, Stacy shot herself in the foot across the board with all of the guys. And I forgot to mention another guy. Like, she shot herself in the foot with David in the beginning. So there's David was out, Ron was out. She had gotten on AJ's nerves because remember he said that the masquerade ball, like he was tired of the two of them being together. Yeah. KG said the same thing, and she had already burnt the bridge with him getting up and walking away from him. So it's just like she was just lighting too many fires and putting them out way too easy.
Right. Like, so, I think it's one thing that, you know, Stacey's very pretty. That's one thing, but then it's like another thing is it's like that's not gonna carry you. Pretty only takes you so far. Yeah.
Pretty and being like annoying. It's like nobody wants the pretty annoying girl.
Right. Nah.
They either want a girl that's pretty or a girl that's not pretty that's not annoying. But I don't want you to be annoying. So next up, we see Chris and Amber go on a date, and they go to a Zen breakfast. And he did not tell her what kind of date they were going on because she was not dressed for a Zen breakfast.
She wasn't.
And it's not to say that she was just dressed inappropriately at all, but like they're in the grass reciting mantras, and she's trying to like adjust her sweater dress to make sure she doesn't show anything. But they have their discussion on their thoughts on marriage and like being able to see a future. And I noticed the theme with this episode was that it keeps seeming to be people going on dates with people that they've already been on dates with. And I know that it was much easier on the resort to set schedules because what else are you doing? Like,
right. You're
not doing anything else but being at this resort. You need to take your vacation, your 2 weeks of vacation, and work at this.
Yeah.
But with the two of them, I feel very much so like he's taking the Naya route. Now, it could be that we're missing these dates. Like, we only got to see Chrysanthemum and Troy on the YouTube page.
The YouTube page.
Like, we didn't get to see it like on the television. So I'm hoping that he's taking other dates, and this is not a point of contingency for getting him sent home because he's not connecting with other people. But I think that's all that I wrote down for the two of them, because I don't remember Amber connecting with anyone else either.
Not yet. Like, that's the thing. It's like I said the exact same thing. I felt like he was putting all his eggs in one basket again. You know, because he did try to talk to Stacey, but we already have eliminated Stacey in our minds at this point. And, you know, also that's the only person, like, he makes the connection with Amber from the jump. And that's the only person we've seen him interact with as far as like on a date or anything like that. And they did have the same ideas of marriage, that it's not. It was weird. It's not the ultimate goal. It was weird, but I understood what he was saying, but it was still weird.
It's like what they were trying to say was, I would like to get married, but I would like to be happily married.
Right.
But like
it's not what they said.
It's not like, that's what I felt like they were trying to say, but it's probably not what they were trying to say. This is me giving both of them the benefit of the doubt, because like, it's perfectly okay for marriage to not be your goal. But for marriage to not be your goal, but you're like, yeah, I'm willing to get married. What are we doing?
Right. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I felt the same way, but it was just the way he delivered it and the way she was like, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like, it was just weird. It's like, bro, like, you want to be happy.
It almost feels like she just really likes him.
And just agreeing with what he says. She's just
taking whatever he says, and it's like, yes, I'm all in.
But I didn't get that from her.
No, I don't get that vibe, but that's how it comes across.
Yeah.
Is that it's just like, oh, you too? My favorite color is green too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, nah.
Nah, I get you.
So then we see Ron and Chrysanthemum. They are gonna go salsa dancing. So on this date is Tressa and Dietrich and Joelle and Vernisha. Was Ron teaching the class?
Yeah, Ron was teaching the class.
Okay.
Which I was like, oh, okay, Ron.
Okay, Ron. That's a hobby that I didn't expect Ron to have.
Got the moves like Jagger. I see.
And so we see Chrysanthemum and Ron talk about him or her knowing that Alexis was his number one because of the last time we had, I don't remember what we called the lady. Is it the ladies' lounge? Like, it's the gentleman's lounge?
I don't know what the ladies.
The room with the ladies in it.
Yeah.
So Alexis made mention that Ron told her that I'm your top one, or you're my top one.
Yeah.
And I fully understand that this is a TV show and this is not how dating actually goes. But like, who does that?
Nobody.
Like, I'm not dating you and be like, I mean, I'm dating this other guy. I mean, you could know that I'm dating another guy, like, until you decide to exclusively date, all bets are off.
Right.
But you could know that I'm dating another guy, but I'm be like, I really like you more. No.
Like, nobody says that. Like, nobody is ever in competition knowingly. Nobody is ever in competition with another person knowingly. And I say knowingly because unknowingly, people are in competitions all the time.
Right.
You know?
So
it's kind of like, why would I tell you that I'm talking to this person, that person, and that person, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, you're up here, so if you do X, Y, and Z, you get the top spot. I'm like, no, that's.
And like, I don't think there's anything that you can do in those situations, like.
It's not
knowingly to move yourself up.
Yeah, it's not a checklist that you can hit. It's an internal feeling that they're looking for between these people, in this surrounding of group of people that don't know each other, and it's a feeling that you have to develop with a person, and the only way to develop this feeling is if I hang out with you. Anything can knock you off, as we saw with Stacy. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is I have to continue to get to know you, and if I like you better than I like this other person, then yeah, boom. But you sitting up here asking, I'm sorry for going on this long tangent. But if you sitting up here asking me who's my number one, and then if I'm number two, I can't be honest with you. And if I honestly say you asking me if I'm number one or if I'm number two, it gets on my nerves. I'm going to tell you that somebody else is number one, as did Ron in this situation, because he told her that, yeah, like Alexis was like, yeah, he told me, you know, like, I like you the most, basically. And so Chris asked Ron that, and Ron was like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess competition dating shows would not be for me. I am not that type of person, because like I would just want to date you and get to know you to decide if I really like you, not if you like me more than somebody else. Because the goal for me is for me to make a connection with you, not for me to make a better connection with you than the girl over there.
Yeah.
And so that's where this show has it twisted.
Exactly.
And I'm sure because we're using the number one, number two, like hierarchy of things, that is something that is production led. We got to know, like, we got to come up with a new formula production, because we are at season 4 of top 1, top 2 type situation. And it's not fun. It's not how you would traditionally date a person, even if you were doing like speed dating or something. Yeah. We all are manning our own island, and I'm not worried about the island over here.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care about what's going on over there. I can only care about the connection that I am making with you, and making sure that that is a lasting connection and is the right connection for me. So we leave salsa dancing. Did you have anything about the other couples that went salsa dancing?
No, they did. Like, honestly, Tressa and Dietrich went off to their side. Joel and Vernisha went off to their side. And with Joel and Vernisha, it's like, we see that they like each other.
It oozes sexual chemistry.
Right. It oozes it. It's like, okay, you guys are like, okay, I wouldn't mind seeing y'all together. That's what it is for me. I get warm vibes. I smile when I see them together. It just seems like it's supposed.
It's more so because of Joel than it is because
right.
of
like he's a likable guy.
Yeah, it's like his New Orleans just comes out, and you're just like,
he's a very likable guy.
Like this guy.
Vernisha is like, is a likable girl. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't seem like she talks a lot. When she says something, you listen. But if they were a couple, it would be us. It would be us.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
okay.
like the reason why I say it, because when like we go to a wedding, I'm gonna go dance, and you're gonna be on the side like, that's my husband.
Or finding a drink. You know.
Or whatever. But you're gonna be like, you see my husband out there. You know, and I feel like that's how Joel and Vernisha would be.
He's the one that's getting to know everybody, and she's just like, hey girl.
Yeah, right.
I could see that then.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of one of the couples that was at salsa dancing, we go over to Dietrich and Tressa, and they go to a spice store. At this spice store, Tressa realized that he's just not into her. He's trying to foster the friendship, and she's like, he's not even flirting with me or anything. Like, he was really into these spices though.
No, like, he's a chef.
Right. What I'm saying, he was like really into these spices though. Like, he spent a lot of time talking about that, telling her don't use imitation vanilla. I never knew about that process with imitation vanilla, but I don't use it anyways. So
I didn't know that either. But I personally felt like that was unfair to her, because why on a date would you take her to a place that she has no any type of, like, you gave yourself an unfair advantage to control everything about it. Like, only thing she could do in that situation is ask about spices, because it's unfair because you're a chef.
I think, okay, so that would have for me needed to be a 2-part date.
Yeah.
And I say a 2-part date because we can go and we can talk about seasoning. Like maybe I can tell you that I like lamb. And so then you can be like, okay, this is the kind of seasoning that we're going to use on lamb. And then we go back to your house
and cook.
And we cook lamb together.
And eat dinner. Like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as far as like, it was an unfair thing and to her, because it's like, you just took her to a store, basically. You just took her to a store because you was going to a store. Like, hey, meet me at this store, man, because I got to get this stuff for her. And that's it. That's not fair. That's not even a good date, man.
I always think that going to visit stores on reality TV is weird. Because, like, even on, like, the non-dating reality TV shows, like, say, like, Real Housewives, and they'll be like, we're going to go meet up and look at baby stuff. Girl, nobody does that. Not for real.
Like, I was going to say, some people do that, but they're doing it as friends. For this show, like, you're trying to get to know this girl and everything like that. Y'all could have went to the park and just walked around the park.
I mean, he wanted to tell her about this spice store, and she might have been interested in learning about new seasonings. Like, okay, cool, I get it, I fully understand that, but it was just like it needed to be more. Kind of like when AJ and Alexis went to the candle place. They could have just bought candles because there were candles for sale there, but they took it a step further and did an activity at the candle shop, like making candles.
Exactly.
So you have something tangible to take away from this date, outside of we just went and bought some African seasonings. And now every time I see this bag with these African seasoning in it, I gotta roll my eyes because you didn't like me enough to even try to keep me around. And now I done wasted my money on these seasons that I'm gonna throw away. Or maybe I'm gonna use them. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I got a lot of attitude with that though.
I see.
So next up was the masquerade ball. So we see everybody, well, we didn't see everybody arrive. We saw Alexis arrive and we saw Liz arrive.
Yeah.
And
boy, Liz.
I wrote a note about that. Nephew Tommy said when he walk in, wait till Pastor see this.
Right. Goodness, Liz came with it.
And it wasn't that Liz just came with it. Cause not to say that she looked bad or anything, but it wasn't that Liz just came with it. I think because Liz is a, and I don't want to use the word Christian woman because I believe that others there obviously believe in God, but because Liz is deeply embedded in the church, they thought that she would not dress a particular way. And there was nothing like outlandish about what she had on.
Liz showed more skin that they're used to seeing. Like they see skin from all the other girls, but like even at the Liz came with a dress that covered a lot of stuff, but you got to see Liz's form, figure, and skin, and you know. You got to see a more dressier part of Liz or sexier part of Liz that like you didn't get to see.
Yeah, the way they were talking was like Liz was in there naked.
Nah, Liz, I mean, like Liz looked good. I was like, damn, I was like, close your mouth, man. Your wife's sitting over there.
You're awful.
Terrible. But I mean, like she looked really good. Compared to the other women, I think she was the best dressed.
Alexis said that she was coming in there in her all white so she can look like a bride or something like that.
Did she?
And I was like, I didn't get bride vibes from what you have on.
I don't pay. She dresses. Alexis can dress, but she doesn't dress for my flavor.
Yeah, she dresses to be seen.
Right. Not
to be fashionable.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. Like I'm not a fashion guy because I'm cool with sweatpants and flip-flops. I'm the one that wears socks with flip-flops. But you know, it's like it's a certain style and it's not my style, the way she dresses.
So we did find out that Nephew Tommy's wife came in. I was wondering if we were going to actually see her on the show since she did the casting special.
Right.
And so this was the first time, and we actually saw her during this sit down and talk to Alexis. And she was involved in a couple of other small conversations that weren't really aired, but you could like see her visibly there talking to them. So after Nephew Tommy came in, he said that it's time to take off the mask and let these people know who you really are. So that's when Stacey and Chrysanthemum started they tag team, or more so Stacey started hers. And she was trying to make sure that she pushed Chrysanthemum for Ron.
Yeah.
And that was obviously getting on Ron's nerves. He mentioned that he was a bit irritated by that conversation to Nephew Tommy. So KG made a comment about it being annoying. Ron made a comment about it being annoying.
I think
AJ made a comment about it being annoying. And then someone else, I can't remember who it was. But they didn't make a comment about it being annoying, but they made sure to say frickin' frack. Yeah. Like, we got to point this out to y'all.
Right.
And Nephew Tommy even made sure to approach them and call them frickin' frack during the process of
and they didn't even catch what he was telling them, because he was even saying, hey, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, and they didn't catch it.
Because they weren't trying to catch it. They didn't want to catch it. They're just like, you got to accept me for me. And it's like, girl, okay. Mm-hmm. So we see Alexis talk to Jacqueline Miles, who is Nephew Tommy's wife, and I don't even remember the advice she gave her, but it was something very regular, which I told Tommy when this went on commercial after that there's something that married people do, and we offer up very like general advice, and people really take it to heart.
And my response to what you were saying was, we have to, because before we were married, we overthought marriage. Mm-hmm. And because we're married now, it's like I completely overshot that. You know, it's what it is. Like, marriage is so confusing. I'm finna go off on another tangent. I'm sorry, guys. Marriage is so it's not confusing, but it's so intricate. It's so simple and it's so hard at the same time. It's like situations are gonna be so different, but they can turn so fast, and everybody has to deal with it. Like, at some point, you're going to have to, like, most of the time, marriages go through some similar form of problem or issue or whatever you want to call it. They go through the same thing, you know. And as a single person or a person that's not married, they think some people think once you get married, things get better. Some people think once you get married, it's just going to be worse. Some people think it's just going to be the same. But in all regards, it is a sense of our thought process as what marriage is, you know, as far as anything. But once you get married, you see this is just life.
Yeah. The interesting thing, though, was that Alexis was asking questions about marriage, but she's been married before.
That is interesting.
Because it wasn't like she was coming from a person who uses marriage from an idealistic standpoint of something that I have not ever attained. But she has been married to a pastor, had a kid with him. So she's gone through the, you know, the different stages of everything. And unfortunately, I don't know what else happened with her husband, but she just said she just couldn't deal with him being more committed to the parishioners of the church than he was to her. Yeah. And so, again, we don't really know what happened in the relationship. We know her take of the relationship. Not to say that what she said happened didn't happen, but we don't know. So because we don't know, I just found it very interesting that she was talking to her about marriage and not necessarily like having a solid relationship. Because Alexis has been married, so she knows how to be married, essentially. She just might not know how to stay happily married.
Right.
So, get to freaking frack. Everybody talks about them being together too much. And then we see that Jason pulls Liz aside and talks to her. And one of the things that I thought about when I saw the two of them together is Jason is, I think we said 36, and Liz is 40 or 41. but they seem so drastically different in age when they're sitting there talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like his 36 does not look like it's 4 to 5 years younger than her age. It does. And usually when you're in that type of realm of age, like the years start blending together, and they just seem like they're like in two different places.
Yeah.
And so
I don't even remember their conversation.
He was just like, "You looking good." Want to take you out on a date.
I felt like it wasn't genuine. Like I felt like he didn't really. He wanted to talk to her because he was looking at her. You know what I'm saying?
He basically said that was like, I had to pull you aside today. Like I didn't think about doing it last week or anything.
Right, exactly. I see you today, and I was like, I might be missing out because I like what I see.
Liz got her biddies out. Let me talk to her.
Right, that's what it was.
And it's just like Liz is like, yeah, I'm gonna be back in my sweater tomorrow. This is for a formal occasion.
Right.
I haven't felt like I've seen Jason with any of these women as like an actual relationship.
Yeah.
And
I don't feel that way either.
It makes me wonder if he's gonna make it to the end or if he's a chestnut checkers type person and that'll make him make it to the end. Not for any other reason than he just knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that we see is Ron and Chrysanthemum talking, and he walks off from her to talk to Alexis, and she and Frack don't like it.
Nah. I laughed at that part. I was like, that's what's gonna get Chrysanthemum eliminated. But it was Stacy. So
right.
You know.
But of course Stacy was more irritating than Chrysanthemum to the guys. Yeah. Because Chrysanthemum had only like had the bad connection with Ron.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else had a negative situation with her. So then we go back to the gentleman's lounge, and essentially Stacy and Tressa kept coming up at the, well, let me not say straight Stacy and Tressa. Stacy kept coming up at the bottom of everybody's list of people that they don't like. And Tressa was just not on anybody's list of people that they're gunning for.
Right.
So with that, we see that they go and meet up. So we see Stacy meets up with David, and I was like, good punch. Stacy tried to get David sent home, and David was the one that sent Stacy home. And it's not because he said anything about her specifically. It was just she had like triggered enough of the other guys. And they had Joelle send Tressa home, which I think that was the best person for the job.
That probably was the best person for the job.
And I say that because Joelle is nice.
Yeah.
His New Orleans can calm any situation down. Right. And you know, it was a nice like, baby, don't cry. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. And it makes you like Joelle that much.
It does.
Because he wasn't a business as usual type person. He was like, come on, give me a hug.
Look, David more so was like, so what? Look, the guys feel like you're not ready to love.
David was kind of like that Kevin Hart thing. Somebody got voted off the island. We decided it was you. You got to go.
Right. He said it as nice as possible.
I mean, that was matter of factly, but that's what she would have done to him. Yeah. She would have said it very matter of factly. So we see that the two of them got sent home, which we only thought that it was going to be one, which when I saw Stacy and Tressa at the bottom, I was like, Tressa's going to get another week to go on some good dates.
That's what I thought too.
I'm with it. Like maybe Tracy, I'm thinking of people that she could talk to, and I couldn't come up with anybody besides what she call him, Pawpaw.
Pawpaw.
And yeah, nothing was working for us with that. So she got eliminated. I was really sad for Tressa to go, but I'm okay with it now. Like I resolved my feelings. So I went back and looked at the cast. and who was still there. And I was trying to like see who was going to go home next. So on the lady side, I'm thinking that it's either going to be Alexis or Chrysanthemum that get sent home next. And then on the guy's side, I didn't come up with anybody. So there left for the guys is Dietrich, David, AJ, Joel, Ron, and Jason. So if you had to send a guy home,
it'd probably be Dietrich or Jason.
I kept saying like an episode or two, I kept saying it's gonna be Ron. Ron is gonna get sent home, but apparently Ron is up here doing the dating that we just not getting to see. So I was thinking Dietrich would go home, and I'm honestly thinking that David might go home because Stacy planted the negativity seed.
Liz is gonna keep David.
But if she's the only one,
then he's gonna go home.
Because I don't see the connection being made with anyone else. Because I don't see David with Vernisha. I don't see David with Alexis. I don't see David with Kyra. I don't see David with Amber. I don't see David with Chrysanthemum.
Who you see Jason with?
Apparently he's making some type of connection with Kyra.
Oh, apparently. So David might get sent home.
I think it's gonna be David or Dietrich, unless there's.
I think it'll be Dietrich next because
but it'll probably be a 2-guy elimination too.
Yeah, because the thing about it is like Dietrich saved Tressa, but it was nobody talking to. That was the only person that wanted to talk to or has mentioned Dietrich.
I'm sincerely hoping that like we get some more like behind the scenes dates.
Oh yeah, man.
Like we did with Troy and Chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
Because Troy, that wasn't his house, by the way, y'all. If y'all haven't seen it, go look on OWN's YouTube page and they have the date with Troy and Chrysanthemum. That was not his house.
Nah, he had the first off, he wouldn't show her upstairs. The bedroom. Secondly, when you walk in the door, you see wash your hands, wear a face mask as a sign.
This is either an Airbnb one or you're squatting on somebody's real estate investment that they trying to sell.
But that was not his house at all.
But I mean, he went in the kitchen and he pretended like that was his kitchen with the pots and pans. Like, do you bring over pots and pans and seasoning?
I don't know what you do.
He made something very simple like spaghetti, so it's not a lot of ingredients.
Look, that man rented an Airbnb and invited that girl over to the Airbnb because his house had a movie theater and all this immaculate stuff. But then you wouldn't show her the bedroom.
I would have.
A bedroom.
If I was Troy, thinking it's the person that we have seen Troy as, we'll use it as a perfect opportunity to show you my room.
Right. Absolutely. This is where I lay my head. We showed the movie theater.
You know, you too could have this. We can take a trip.
Right.
Because you know he like taking trips.
Crazy.
But yeah, so resolving that, I think at the ending we'll have Joel and Vernisha. I think that if I still get a weird vibe about David, and I'm trying not to let that overshadow what we're seeing on the screen of David. But if nobody eliminates, then David and Liz could make it to the end. And then potentially Kyra, but would it be with AJ or would it be with Jason?
She'll probably try AJ again. I don't know. It's a good question.
Tell us what you guys think. Let us know what you guys thought about this week's eliminations. Did you think that Stacy, I was about to say Chrysanthemum, Stacy or Tressa was unfairly sent home? Also, let us know who you guys think are going to make it to the end. Like I feel like I got me a little mental board and I'm matching people off trying to see who's going to make it to the end because we don't really have. We had a lot of people left, but we don't have a ton of people left that are able to cross connections. Yeah. We don't have as many love triangles as we did last season. Yeah. So please take a minute if you haven't already, like we said in the beginning, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family who watch Ready to Love. Like, it's an interesting show to watch people in their unnatural habitats attempt to date the way that a production team wants them to date.
Exactly.
And that's all I got.
That's it.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.